submit it to. We've made our pre-submission inquiries. We've considered putting our work onto a preprint server so that journals, reviewers can look at our work before it gets submitted. And now we have made the submission. We've been effective with our message. We've written a great cover letter that goes with our submission. The paper has gone out for peer review. What happens next? Now, I can talk for days, weeks about peer review and peer review responses, especially given that it is peer review week at the moment. But when you get a paper back from peer review, the most important thing to think about is that you are going to respond in a way that's comprehensive. Show your editor that you take the process seriously. Once reviewed, the comments that come back on your paper will likely determine its chances of acceptance. So have a read carefully of the email that you get back from the journal, because these emails are automatically generated. Minor versus major revisions. If you get major or comprehensive changes, then your paper is probably going to be sent back to the same reviewers again. If you get minor comments on your paper, then probably a decision's going to be made just by the editor. So this, of course, influences how you communicate when you respond to the comments that you get back. We can provide you with extensive training on writing and publishing, responding to reviewer comments. I can send you longer webinars. I can provide you with access to other kinds of training in this area if that is of interest. Don't hesitate again to get in touch with us if you would like to learn more in this area. Make sure that your editors and peer reviewers feel good about your responses. If they feel good, they're more likely to give your article a positive review. So be positive, be strong. In English, good and bad sentence starters, for example, for responding to review comments, we would like to thank the reviewer. The reviewer has correctly pointed out. We concur with the reviewer. Thank you for your valuable comments. This valuable insight is much appreciated. These comments significantly enhance the quality of our work, are ways to make editors and reviewers feel good about your comments. They feel good, you communicate effectively, they are more likely to positively respond to your paper. However, I do not think the reviewers understand my point. It would not be necessary to change. We simply do not have such data. Negative sentences create a negative impression to editors and reviewers, and so that decreases your chances of eventual acceptance. How can you do this effectively? Effectively responding to review comments. Be comprehensive. Give the editor a summary at the top of your response document, telling them what you did. Make it clear to the editor what changes you've made. Use a different color, use a different font, and intersperse your responses to the comments that you get in your document. Reviewer 1, comment, response. Comment, response. Do all of the comments, even the small ones, because that will show the editor that you are taking the process seriously. Here's a template you can use again for this communication step in the process. I would again be delighted to give you this as a Word document at the end of our presentation today to make it easier for you to communicate with editors after the peer review process has concluded, to maximize your article's chances of acceptance. Here's that hamster wheel. Here's that academic publishing cycle. Again, our goal is to help you communicate effectively. One of the common problems that colleagues have is that their papers simply take too much time in the process. You should not wait too long. You've only got one career. The average time from submission to online publication across the publishing industry is 90 days. So if your paper is in the system for 6 or 8 weeks, it's time to write to the editor and ask for some information. Do it politely, do it in a constructive way. Here again is an email template that I will provide you with at the end to help you with that process. What happens if your paper gets rejected? This happens all the time. I reckon that working as a researcher, working as an academic, you experience more rejection than almost any other line of work, potentially with the exception of professional salespeople, jobs, papers, grant applications. We get rejected all the time. But if you get rejected and you feel that the comments that come back on your work are unnecessarily negative, then do consider making an appeal, communicating again with the editor with your reasons why you feel that you have been unfairly treated. Happened to me a lot in my career. I would have missed out on some key publications that affected the course of my career had I not been confident and believed that my work was good. I got negative comments. I talked to the editor about how I felt those comments were incorrect, how I felt I had been unfairly treated, and in some cases, the editor made a change to their initial decision. What's the worst that can happen? The paper has, after all, already been rejected. So if you disagree, be constructive, provide evidence to support your arguments, and talk to the editor. Appeal to the editor. Let me wrap up with a few things to avoid in the process, the publication process. Don't try to add authors onto a paper once it's been accepted. This is something that editors, academic editors at international journals absolutely do not like. It raises alarm bells. People think about gift authorships. They think about people adding authors after the paper's been accepted. It will require lots of paperwork. So you can have a look at this real email that we received recently. Don't worry, of course, we'll give you this presentation. We'll give you the slides. So you can have a look at this information in as much detail as you like in the future. When making submissions, we also recommend that you get yourself an Orchid researcher identification number. This is a great way to distinguish yourself from other researchers who may have the same name, who may be working in the same area, and more submission systems are asking for these in the submission process. Maybe you've seen these little green IDs on the tops of papers. This is also a great way to build your CV, to put your CV together without doing all that much work. So making submissions, think about an Orchid ID. And I would say as well that when you write to academic editors, communication is key to increasing your chances of success. Where is my paper? I've waited 2 months. Looking forward to an immediate reply is a recent real example of a bad email. Whereas, dear editor, I'm writing to ask if I can do something to help speed up my recent submission to your journal. Can I make some suggestions for additional peer reviewers? Is a nice email. It's a good email. It makes people feel good. Our goal at Bentham Science Publishers, in partnership with edX, please check us out, is to help you maximize your success. We are here at any time to help you, give you advice, provide you with information to help you maximize your publication success. So if you have any questions, it's now your chance to write them if you haven't already. And I see that we have a number of comments written in the chat box. We've talked about the publishing framework, stages of the publishing cycle. And we've talked about tips for good and bad communication in English when writing to publishers at all stages of the publishing cycle. So before you finish the research, before you begin to write up, as you then work to think about which journal you're going to write and submit your paper to, and all through the process. There are lots of different ways that you can follow Bentham Science Publishers on social networking services. Please do get in touch. Please do reach out to us. We are always here to help. My colleague Franz Lettenstrom, the sales director at Bentham Science Publishers, would absolutely love to hear from you if you would like to gain access to any of Bentham Science Publishers or edX products and services. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your attention today. I'm going to turn my camera back on so you can see that I'm really here. Thank you again for your attention. Thank you for listening to this presentation. Don't forget that we're doing it all again tomorrow. So if you'd like to get into our webinar tomorrow, I will just quickly drop the link into the chat. If you haven't signed up for our webinar tomorrow, then why not? We would love to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how you can plan your research to publish in high impact factor journals. So do join us tomorrow. If you have time, we'd love to see you. Thank you to Marhatya and our colleagues at the National State Library in Kiev, and for our collaboration between our company, Bentham Science Publishers, and your Ukrainian universities and Ukrainian colleagues. Anything that we can do to help, don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you once again for listening. I will shortly provide anyone that wishes with a copy of the slides from today's presentation, as well as a recording. Thank you once again for listening, and have a great day.